The one secret to speaking English fluently is not about memorizing thousands of words or learning every grammar rule perfectly. It is about breaking the fear inside you, that fear of making mistakes, that fear of being judged, that fear of not sounding perfect. That is the real barrier between you and fluency. Think about it. Every child learns to speak their first language, not because they studied books or memorized rules, but because they spoke freely without shame. They were not afraid of being wrong. They made mistakes every single day, but those mistakes became the stepping stones to fluency, and that same principle applies to you today. The truth is, fluency is not about perfection. It is about connection. It is about having the courage to express what is in your heart, even if your words are not perfect. People don't connect with grammar. They connect with your energy, your emotion, and your confidence. When you speak with passion, when you speak without holding back, your English automatically becomes more powerful. The secret is this: speak every day, even if you are alone. Talk to yourself, describe what you are doing, share your thoughts out loud. Don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait until you feel ready, because that day may never come. You create fluency by practicing in the present, by allowing your voice to be heard now. Yes, people may laugh. Yes, you will make mistakes. But let me remind you, mistakes are proof that you are learning. Every mistake carries a lesson, and every word you speak brings you closer to fluency. The only real mistake is staying silent. You already have everything inside you to speak fluently. The moment you decide to let go of fear and choose courage over silence, you will unlock the power of your own voice. And once that happens, fluency will not just be a dream, it will be your reality. So many people believe that fluency in English means speaking without a single mistake, never forgetting a word, and always using perfect grammar. They think fluency is about sounding like a native speaker, copying every accent, and delivering words flawlessly. But let me tell you, that belief is the reason so many learners stay stuck for years. They are waiting for perfection, and perfection never arrives. The truth is simple. Fluency is not about perfection. It is about communication. Imagine this. You want to tell someone your idea, but in your head, you're busy worrying. What if I use the wrong tense? What if I don't pronounce this word correctly? What if people laugh at me? And so, instead of speaking, you stay silent. Or maybe you whisper your words with hesitation. What happened? You had the thought, you had the feeling, you had something valuable to share, but because you wanted it to come out perfectly, it never came out at all. That is not fluency, that is fear. Now picture another moment. A person speaks broken English. Their grammar is not perfect. They search for words, but their energy is strong, their face is alive, and their message reaches your heart. You understand them. You connect with them. That is fluency. Because fluency is not about giving a grammar lesson. It's about being able to express yourself and connect with people in real time, with confidence and clarity. Think about babies learning to talk. They don't worry about grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation. They just express themselves with the words they know. They communicate hunger, happiness, pain, excitement. They use the simplest words, but their meaning is clear. And what happens? Slowly, they improve, they grow, they add new words, they learn better structures, and one day, without even realizing it, they are fluent. They didn't chase perfection, they chased communication. Many English learners carry the heavy burden of perfectionism. They believe they need to know 10,000 words before they can call themselves fluent. They believe they need to master every tense, every article, every preposition before they can speak confidently. And while they wait, they waste precious time. They forget that the human brain doesn't learn language by collecting rules. It learns by using the language to express ideas, emotions, and desires. You learn by speaking, by sharing, by communicating. Even in your own native language, are you perfect? Do you never make mistakes? Of course not. You mispronounce words. You sometimes forget what you were going to say. You make small grammatical errors. But does that stop you from communicating? Never. And nobody judges you for it. The same is true with English. People don't care if you make small mistakes. They care about whether they can understand you and feel your message. That is all that matters. You may meet someone who speaks English with a heavy accent, but their stories inspire you. You may meet someone whose vocabulary is simple, but their passion shakes you. Why? Because communication is powerful, and communication is what people remember. The accent, the grammar, the tiny mistakes, they fade away. What stays is the connection you built. Fluency is about flow, not flawlessness. It is about the courage to keep your words moving, even if you stumble, even if you don't sound perfect. It's like a river. It doesn't stop to make sure every drop of water is clean. It just flows. And in that flow, it becomes beautiful. Your English must flow. That flow creates fluency, not perfection. If you wait until your grammar is perfect, you will wait forever. If you wait until you never make mistakes, you will stay silent. But if you choose to speak now, with the English you already have, you will grow. Every conversation will polish your skills. Every sentence you speak will make you stronger. Every moment you dare to communicate will bring you closer to fluency. So don't hold back your words in fear of mistakes. Don't hide your voice because it's not perfect yet. Remember, perfection is an illusion. Communication is real, it's alive, it's human, it's what language was created for. And the day you embrace communication over perfection, that is the day your fluency truly begins. Fear. It is the silent enemy that stops so many people from ever becoming fluent in English. Not lack of intelligence, not lack of opportunity, not even lack of resources. Fear. The fear of being wrong, the fear of being judged, the fear of sounding different. This fear builds an invisible wall in the mind, a wall higher than any grammar rule, stronger than any vocabulary gap, and until that wall is broken, fluency can never be reached. Think about how many times you had words inside your head but you stopped yourself from speaking. You wanted to join a conversation, but fear whispered, "What if they laugh at me? What if I say it wrong? What if I embarrass myself?" And so, instead of speaking, you stayed silent. The opportunity was there, the chance to grow was right in front of you, but fear tied your tongue. That is the real reason why so many learners stay stuck, not because they don't know enough, but because they don't use what they already know. Fear is powerful because it works in disguise. It tells you, you're not ready yet. Wait until you learn more. Wait until your accent improves. Wait until your grammar is perfect. It feels like good advice, but it is actually a trap. If you keep waiting until you feel ready, you will never speak. You will spend your whole life preparing for a moment that never comes. The truth is, readiness is born from action, not from waiting. You become ready by speaking through the fear, not by avoiding it. Remember when you first learned to ride a bicycle? At the beginning, you were scared of falling. Maybe you did fall. Maybe you scraped your knee. But each time you got back on, the fear became smaller. With practice, your balance grew, and soon the fear was gone. The same is true for English. The only way to shrink your fear is to face it. The more you speak, the less power fear has over you. The sad part is, fear doesn't just silence your voice, it steals your dreams. How many opportunities have been lost because of fear? A job interview you didn't apply for, a conversation you didn't join, a friendship you didn't make, all because of fear. And later, when the moment has passed, you tell yourself, "I knew what to say, but I was too afraid." That regret is heavier than any mistake you could ever make while speaking. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be brave. People are not waiting to hear flawless grammar from you. They are waiting to hear you, your ideas, your experiences, your perspective. Fear wants to convince you that mistakes will make people laugh at you. But the truth is, most people respect courage. They admire someone who speaks, even when it's not perfect, because deep inside, they know how difficult it is to fight fear. Imagine two learners. One knows all the grammar rules but is too afraid to open their mouth. The other has limited vocabulary, makes mistakes, but speaks with courage. Who do you think grows faster? Who do you think becomes fluent? Always the one who dares to speak. Because fluency is not built by knowledge sitting quietly in your brain. It is built by words leaving your lips, even imperfect ones. Fear will always try to remind you of your weaknesses. It will highlight every small mistake, every wrong pronunciation, every awkward pause. But instead of letting that fear control you, use it as proof that you are stepping outside your comfort zone. Fear is a sign that you are growing, a sign that you are moving in the right direction. If you never feel fear, it means you are not challenging yourself. And without challenge, there is no growth. There is a powerful shift that happens the moment you stop seeing fear as your enemy and start seeing it as your teacher. Every time you feel nervous before speaking English, remind yourself, this is my chance to grow. This is the moment I become stronger. Instead of running from fear, walk straight into it. Speak anyway. Share your words anyway. Because the truth is, the people who achieve fluency are not the ones without fear. They are the ones who speak despite fear. Fear does not vanish overnight. It will whisper in your ear many times, but each time you speak, even with fear in your chest, you weaken its grip. Each time you push words out of your mouth, even shakily, you build courage. And courage, not perfection, is the foundation of fluency. Mistakes. That one word has stopped millions of people from ever reaching fluency in English. The moment they make a mistake, they feel ashamed, they feel embarrassed, they feel like they are not good enough. Some even decide to stop speaking altogether because they believe mistakes mean failure. But the reality is completely different. Mistakes are not proof that you are weak. Mistakes are proof that you are learning. They are not your enemy. They are your greatest teacher. Think back to when you were a child learning your first language. Did you speak perfectly from the beginning? Of course not. You mispronounced words. You mixed up sentences. You said funny things that made adults laugh. But did anyone tell you to stop speaking until you were perfect? No. You kept going, and through every mistake, you learned. That is how fluency is born, by making mistakes, correcting them, and growing stronger each time. The problem is, as adults, we begin to fear mistakes. In school, mistakes are punished with red marks, low grades, and criticism. Slowly, we are taught to believe that mistakes are something to avoid at all costs. And so, when it comes to English, many people stay silent rather than risk being wrong. But language is not a test, it is a tool, and the only way to master a tool is by using it, even imperfectly. Every mistake carries a lesson. When you mispronounce a word and someone corrects you, you never forget it again. When you use the wrong tense and hear the right version, it sticks in your memory far stronger than if you had only read it in a book. When you struggle to explain something and finally find the right words, that effort makes your brain stronger. Mistakes are like little sparks of growth. Without them, there is no progress. Imagine someone who refuses to speak until they can guarantee no mistakes. They spend years studying books, memorizing grammar rules, watching videos, collecting vocabulary, but when the time comes to speak, their mind freezes. All that knowledge sits quietly in their head because they never practiced in real situations. Now imagine another person who speaks every day, even if they only know a few words. They make mistakes constantly, but they learn from each one. Who do you think becomes fluent faster? Always the second person. Because fluency is not built by avoiding mistakes. It is built by embracing them. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. Did they reach success without failure? Never. They failed more times than most people even tried. They treated failure as feedback, as a guide, as a teacher. The same principle applies to English. Every mistake is feedback. Every mistake is guidance. Every mistake is showing you the exact area where you can improve. Without mistakes, you wouldn't even know what to work on. The truth is, people do not judge you as harshly as you judge yourself. Most people admire someone who has the courage to try, even when it's not perfect. When they hear you speaking English with effort, with passion, with mistakes, they don't think less of you. They respect you more. They know how hard it is, because they too have made mistakes when learning something new. The fear of judgment is often only in your mind. And even if someone does laugh at your mistakes, so what? That laughter is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are learning. Tomorrow, you will say it better. Next week, you will improve even more. A year from now, you will look back and smile at how far you've come. But none of that growth will happen if you are too afraid to make mistakes today. Think of mistakes as stepping stones across a river. Each mistake you make is a stone you step on. At first, the stones feel unstable. You wobble, you slip, maybe you even fall into the water, but with each step, you get closer to the other side. If you refuse to step because you're afraid of falling, you will stay stuck on the shore forever. But if you keep moving, stone by stone, mistake by mistake, one day you will look back and realize you have crossed the river. That is what fluency looks like. The people who speak fluently today are not the ones who avoided mistakes. They are the ones who made thousands of them, but kept speaking anyway. They learned, they adapted, they grew. Every mistake gave them a lesson. Every lesson gave them strength. and that strength turned into fluency. You cannot skip this process. Mistakes are not a detour on the journey, they are the path itself. So instead of running from mistakes, run toward them. Instead of hiding from errors, embrace them as proof that you are making progress. Every mistake you make in English is one step closer to fluency, one lesson deeper into mastery, one barrier removed from your journey. Mistakes are not the end of learning, they are the beginning. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves when learning English is this: I will start speaking when I am ready. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect level, the perfect vocabulary, the perfect confidence, but that perfect moment never comes. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. They keep preparing, they keep waiting, and still they never speak. And here is the hard truth. Fluency is not built in the future, it is built in the present. If you want to speak English fluently, you must speak today, right now, with whatever words you already have. Language is not like math where you can solve problems silently on paper. Language is alive, it breathes, it grows, it needs practice. The only way to make your tongue comfortable with English is to use it daily. Even if you don't have a partner, even if you don't have a classroom, even if you are alone, your voice is your classroom. Talk to yourself, describe what you are doing, narrate your thoughts out loud. When you walk down the street, name the things you see. When you cook, explain the steps in English. When you are thinking, switch your thoughts into English. These small daily actions are far more powerful than waiting for some magical moment when you feel ready. The truth is, fluency is a habit, not a gift. Just like exercising, reading, or playing a musical instrument, your brain and your mouth need repetition. Imagine going to the gym only once a month. Would you ever become strong? No. In the same way, speaking English only once in a while will not bring fluency. But if you practice daily, even in small doses, your brain starts to rewire itself, your tongue starts to move naturally, your confidence starts to grow. Daily practice builds momentum, and momentum is what makes fluency possible. So many learners hide behind excuses. I don't have anyone to practice with. I don't live in an English-speaking country. I don't have enough time. But the reality is, you don't need perfect conditions to practice. You need consistency. You don't need the ideal environment. You need commitment. Fluency is not about where you live. It's about how you live. If you create an English environment around you every day, your fluency will grow, no matter where you are. Think about it. There are people who live in English-speaking countries for years and still don't become fluent. Why? Because they avoid speaking. They hide in their comfort zones, speaking only in their native language. On the other hand, there are people who never leave their own country, yet they become fluent by practicing daily, by making English part of their lifestyle. It is not about geography, it is about daily action. The habit of speaking every day also kills fear. At first, your voice may shake, your words may stumble, your sentences may break, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Slowly, your brain stops translating from your native language. Slowly, your mouth begins to move naturally in English. Slowly, you start to trust yourself. And one day, you realize that what once felt impossible now feels effortless. That transformation doesn't happen in one giant leap. It happens in small daily steps. Daily speaking practice also builds confidence in real situations. Imagine practicing for months silently, only to freeze when you finally face a real conversation. That happens because you never trained your mouth, you only trained your mind. But if you speak daily, even with yourself, you prepare your voice for those real conversations. When the moment comes to speak with others, your mouth already knows how to move. Your tongue already knows the rhythm. Your confidence is already alive. Waiting for the perfect time is like waiting for the ocean to be still before you learn to swim. The ocean will never be completely calm. There will always be waves, always challenges, always imperfections. The best swimmers are not the ones who waited. They are the ones who jumped in, learned to float, learned to swim, and grew stronger with practice. Your fluency works the same way. Don't wait for silence. Don't wait for perfection. Jump in. Start speaking today. The secret is not about how much time you practice, but how often you practice. Even 10 minutes of speaking daily is more powerful than 2 hours once a week. Because language grows through repetition. The brain needs to hear your own voice regularly. Your muscles need to move regularly. Your confidence needs to be exercised regularly. Consistency beats intensity. A little every day beats a lot someday. Every time you open your mouth to speak, you are training your future self. You are building a version of yourself who speaks with confidence, who communicates with ease, who no longer fears English. But that future self will only exist if you speak today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because fluency is not waiting for you in the future. It is hidden inside your daily practice. When most people think about fluency, they immediately think about vocabulary. They believe the secret lies in memorizing long lists of words, mastering idioms, or knowing thousands of advanced phrases. They imagine that the bigger their vocabulary, the more fluent they will become. But that is only half the truth. Vocabulary is important, yes, but without confidence, even the largest vocabulary is useless. You can know 10,000 words, but if you are too afraid to speak them, if you hesitate at every sentence, if you hold back your voice, then all those words remain locked inside your head. Confidence, not vocabulary, is the real engine of fluency. Think of it this way: words are tools, and confidence is the hand that uses them. A carpenter might own hundreds of tools, but if he never picks them up, if he doesn't have the confidence to build something, the tools are meaningless. Another carpenter might only own a hammer and a saw, but with confidence, he can build a house. In the same way, even with a small set of words, confidence allows you to express yourself clearly, powerfully, and fluently. You have probably seen people who speak English with limited vocabulary, but they communicate so effectively that everyone understands them. Their grammar is not perfect, their word choice is simple, yet they speak with such energy, such clarity, such confidence, that people remember them. On the other hand, there are learners who know so many advanced words but speak with hesitation, with fear, with doubt, and their message never reaches anyone. This shows that fluency is not measured by how many words you know, but by how boldly and confidently you use the words you already have. Confidence is like a spotlight. When you speak with it, people focus on your message, not your mistakes. They don't notice the small grammar slips. They don't count how many words you know. They feel your presence. They hear your voice. They connect with your energy. Confidence covers your weaknesses and highlights your strengths. It makes your English shine brighter than any dictionary ever could. The problem is, many learners believe that confidence comes after fluency. They think, first I will learn more words, first I will speak perfectly, and then I will feel confident. But the truth is the opposite. Confidence is not the result of fluency. It is the path to fluency. You must first believe in yourself enough to speak with what you already have. That confidence gives you practice, and that practice builds your fluency. Waiting for fluency to magically give you confidence is like waiting for a fire to start before you add wood. It doesn't work that way. You start with confidence, even when it feels small, and that confidence fuels your growth. Look around in your daily life. In conversations, people don't remember every word you said, but they remember how you made them feel. If you speak with doubt, they feel doubt. If you speak with fear, they feel distance. But if you speak with confidence, they feel trust. They listen to you, they connect with you, they believe in you. That is the real power of confidence. It doesn't just change your experience, it changes how the world experiences you. Even in your native language, you don't always use advanced words. Most of the time, you use simple, everyday vocabulary, and yet you communicate perfectly. Why? Because you trust yourself, you don't doubt your voice, and you don't overthink every word. That same principle applies to English. You don't need the fanciest words. You need the courage to use the words you already know. Simplicity plus confidence beats complexity plus hesitation every single time. Confidence also breaks the cycle of fear. Many learners remain silent because they are afraid of mistakes, and because they stay silent, they never gain experience. Without experience, their confidence stays low, and their fear grows stronger. But the moment you choose confidence, you break that cycle. You speak, you gain experience, your confidence grows, and your fear becomes weaker. The more you speak confidently, the less fear controls you. And soon, what once felt terrifying begins to feel natural. Confidence is not about never feeling nervous. It is about speaking even when you do. It is about trusting that your message matters more than perfection. It is about standing tall, lifting your voice, and saying, "I will be heard." And every time you do that, your vocabulary becomes more powerful, your sentences become smoother, and your fluency grows stronger. So remember this: vocabulary opens the door, but confidence gives you the courage to walk through it. Vocabulary fills your mind, but confidence frees your voice. Vocabulary makes you knowledgeable, but confidence makes you unforgettable. In the journey to fluency, words are the tools, but confidence is the key. Silence. It feels safe, it feels comfortable, it feels like protection from embarrassment. But silence is also the biggest thief of fluency. Every time you choose silence instead of speaking, you are giving fear more power. Every time you stay quiet, you are giving up a chance to grow. Every time you hide your words, you are hiding your potential. The truth is, the real mistake is not speaking incorrectly. It is not speaking at all. Courage, not silence, is what transforms learners into fluent speakers. Think about the times you wanted to speak English but didn't. Maybe it was in class, maybe in a meeting, maybe with a friend. The words were there in your mind, but you held them back. In that moment, silence might have protected you from possible mistakes, but it also robbed you of practice. It robbed you of experience. It robbed you of progress, because silence teaches you nothing, but courage teaches you everything. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means speaking despite the fear. It means opening your mouth even when your voice shakes. It means daring to express yourself, even when you know you might make mistakes. Every time you choose courage over silence, you take control of your journey. You show yourself and the world that your voice matters more than your doubts. The truth is, fluency is built in moments of courage, not in moments of silence. When you raise your hand in class and speak, you practice. When you greet a stranger in English, you practice. When you record yourself speaking, even if nobody is listening, you practice. Every act of courage adds up. Every small step strengthens your voice. Every word spoken builds your fluency. Silence keeps you stuck where you are. Courage pushes you forward. Many learners believe that silence keeps them safe from judgment, but the reality is, silence only creates regret. You may protect yourself for a moment, but later, when you think back, you feel the pain of lost opportunity. You tell yourself, I could have spoken. I should have spoken. Why did I stay quiet? That regret is heavier than any laughter, heavier than any mistake, heavier than any wrong word. Courage may bring mistakes, but silence always brings regret. Courage is like a muscle. It grows stronger every time you use it. At first, it feels hard. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your mind doubts. But when you push yourself to speak anyway, you realize something powerful. The world didn't end. People didn't hate you. Most of the time, they respected you for trying, and suddenly you realize you are stronger than your fear. The next time, it becomes easier. Step by step, word by word, courage becomes your habit. Silence, on the other hand, also becomes a habit. The more you stay quiet, the more your fear grows. The more you avoid speaking, the more your mind convinces you that you can't do it. Soon, silence becomes your default, and breaking it feels impossible. But remember, habits can be changed. Just as silence becomes automatic, courage can also become automatic if you practice it daily. Think about the people who inspire you, the leaders, the speakers, the teachers. Do you think they never felt fear? Of course they did, but they chose courage. They chose to let their voice be heard, even if it wasn't perfect. That choice is what made them stand out. That choice is what made them powerful. You have that same choice every single day, silence or courage. And here is something important. Courage doesn't just help you grow in English, it transforms your entire life. When you learn to speak despite fear, you train yourself to face challenges in every area. You build resilience, you build confidence, you build strength. Courage in language becomes courage in life. The act of speaking English, even imperfectly, becomes a symbol of something greater, the refusal to let fear control you. Every time you feel the temptation to stay silent, remind yourself, silence will not make me fluent. Silence will not make me confident. Silence will not take me closer to my dream. Only courage will. Even if your words are broken, even if your grammar is wrong, even if your accent is heavy, speak. Because every word spoken with courage is a victory. Every sentence spoken with courage is progress. And every conversation spoken with courage is a step closer to fluency. So let your voice be heard. Don't wait for perfection. Don't hide behind silence. Don't give fear the power to control your future. Choose courage, even in small moments. Choose courage, even when it feels uncomfortable. Choose courage again and again until it becomes who you are. Because the day you choose courage over silence, that is the day your true fluency begins. So when you look back at this journey, remember what truly matters. Fluency is not about perfection, it is about communication. The only real barrier is not your lack of vocabulary or grammar, it is fear. And the way to defeat that fear is not by running from mistakes, but by embracing them, learning from them, and turning them into your greatest teachers. You don't need to wait for the perfect time, because the perfect time is now. Speak every day with the words you already know, and let your confidence carry those words with strength. Never forget, people do not remember the size of your vocabulary, they remember the courage in your voice. And above all, never let silence steal your future. Silence will keep you where you are, but courage will take you where you dream to be. Every time you open your mouth, you are not just practicing English, you are building a stronger, braver version of yourself. Fluency does not belong to those who know everything. It belongs to those who dare to speak, who choose courage over fear, who refuse to stay silent. The secret to speaking English fluently has always been inside you. It is not in the grammar books. It is not in the perfect accent. It is not in memorizing endless vocabulary. The secret is you, your courage, your confidence, your voice. The moment you decide to use it without waiting, without fear, without silence, that is the moment fluency becomes your reality.